The Alliance Party for Progress presents its 2022 manifesto. The future is ahead. Summarized version. Bishop Joseph Atherley is the leader of the APP, candidate for St. Michael Central. Lynette Eastman is deputy leader of the APP, candidate for St. Philip West. Post-election action plan. The Alliance Party for Progress will immediately pass integrity legislation, ensure that Parliament is responsive to the concerns of citizens outside of election time, require ministers to provide quarterly reports to Parliament on the progress of their ministries and statutory boards, mandate its MPs to liaise directly with constituents on major public decisions. Health. Healthy, productive citizens. The Alliance Party for Progress will provide a subvention for private sector programs that support healthy Barbadians and develop an agriculture plan to bring affordable fresh fruits and vegetables to Barbadians. Eat what we grow. The Alliance Party for Progress will provide agriculture scholarships, implement agricultural education at the primary and secondary school levels, provide equipment grants to farmers, take action to make the supply chain more equitable, reduce taxes on productive agricultural land, and seek to reduce the cost of pesticides and fertilizer. Public health. The Alliance Party for Progress will have a concentrated focus on mental health, which facilitates destigmatization, early intervention, and deinstitutionalization, and hold consultations within the public health sector and execute a plan for the benefit of all stakeholders. Wealth. Locally based global outlook for the economy. The Alliance Party for Progress will seek to implement aggressive export-driven economic growth strategies for the island, identify outsourcing opportunities for software development, sound engineering, and post-production for film, commercialize aspects of music, film, fine arts, craft, design, and fashion, and create a technologically driven platform for the export of goods and services. Making use of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. The Alliance Party for Progress will bring together a working group on block cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and within 6 months, determine an action plan for implementation. Tech. The digital age. The Alliance Party for Progress will examine new policies for the evolving nature of work, allocate resources for investment in data security and cybersecurity systems, and build a strategic ecosystem offering products and services in more innovative ways. Train up our people. The Alliance Party for Progress will identify at-risk children from birth to provide support for child and family, make the funding of schools a priority, provide basic financial education of credit, budgeting, and managing finances to children, and expand the facilities available for professional counseling. Reform. The civil society sector. The Alliance Party for Progress will facilitate an annual conference for the sector, invite Bango to take a seat at the social partnership table, grant Bango a yearly subvention, and create an enabling environment that stimulates CSO's effectiveness and safeguards their autonomy. Justice for all. The Alliance Party for Progress will utilize justices of the peace within the community to resolve neighborhood disputes, improve the justice system for the timely hearing and disposal of cases, remove low-risk road traffic offenses from the court system, increase the level of intervention for young offenders, and ensure that the illegal importation of firearms is detected and prosecuted. Planning for infrastructural development. The Alliance Party for Progress will prepare an action plan for building and maintenance of roads, schools, wells, and other infrastructure, which is published on a website, the implementation of which is reviewed on an annual basis. Have neighborhood spaces that promote social interaction. Develop community beautification projects and foster community tourism. Electoral reform. The Alliance Party for Progress will introduce a fixed date for elections, require the registration of political parties, and recognize them as entities with the requisite duties and responsibilities. Introduce legislation for party funding and campaign financing, and begin discussions with the public on proportional representation. Improved public services. The Alliance Party for Progress will establish a public service training institution, formulate service charters for each department in its engagement with the public, and establish the Office of the Contractor General. Environment. The Alliance Party for Progress will strengthen and, where necessary, establish a robust inspectorate with oversight authority relative to the protection of our inland, coastal, and marine ecosystems as we expand tourism and increase industrial activity. Youth. The Alliance Party for Progress will introduce a personal development program for the successful transition from childhood to adulthood. Develop a program of family support and professional counseling to deal with youth deviance, and facilitate opportunities for youth in sports by allocating annually 6 national scholarships with overseas attachments in various sporting disciplines. Supporting the family unit. The Alliance Party for Progress will set up counseling programs to assist new parents and families facing challenges. Implement a charter designed to assist single parents, enabling financial support up to $200 monthly to assist with child expenses, as well as psychological or other support as required. Supporting the differently abled. The Alliance Party for Progress will allocate substantially more resources to the differently abled, work on improving existing facilities and create new facilities, provide training for more individuals to work with the differently abled. You can read the full version of this manifesto at appbarbados.org. St. George South, your candidate is Everton Heru Holligan. St. George North, your candidate is Ferdinand Nichols. St. Lucie, your candidate is Wayne T. Griffith. St. John, your candidate is Philippe Amy. St. Joseph, your candidate is Paula Bradshaw. Christchurch West Central, your candidate is Bellevue Belgrave. Christchurch East Central, your candidate is Sean Tudor. Christchurch East, your candidate is Victor Knight. St. Philip North, your candidate is Nigel C. Newton. St. Philip West, your candidate is Lynette Eastman. St. Philip South, your candidate is Bruce Hennis. St. Michael North, your candidate is Maria Phillips. St. Michael Central, your candidate is Joseph Atherley. St. Michael West Central, your candidate is Veronica Price. St. Michael East, your candidate is Erskine Branch. St. Michael West, your candidate is Patsy Nurse. St. Michael South, your candidate is Irvin Belgrave. St. Michael South Central, your candidate is David Gill. City of Bridgetown, your candidate is Marva Lashley Todd. St. Michael Southeast, your candidate is Patrick Tannis. The Alliance Party for Progress. The future is ahead. You can read the full version of this manifesto at appbarbados.org. Install the app.
Good night, everyone. Install the app. This is Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Weeks show. And listen, count down. The big day is tomorrow. and a lot of our candidates are out in the field, and I know they are, doing their last minute, canvassing out into the constituencies, and we are wishing them all the very best, sending all the love that we can. I know that Philip Catlin Springer, he is actually still at the High Court, waiting on the decision. So we're going to hear that as soon as that happens. It is Mr. Springer's desire to and the plan is for him to be on the show this evening, and that he would be here by 7:30. By 7:30 this evening, Mr. Philip Catlin Springer will be on, and to tell us what has happened. And let's hear it. I'm sure the news is going to carry it, but we want to hear it from Philip himself, right? So he will be on as well. And tonight we also have we have some of the APP candidates are supposed to be on, and I'm hoping they're able to make it. I'm calling this, well, you know what? I'm not saying I'm calling this. One of my viewers, Mr. Hoyt, says, Marcia, why don't you call this the closing arguments, right? So for the candidates, these is their closing arguments. So Mr. Nigel Newton, who is a candidate for St. Philip North, he's going to be coming on in another minute, and he is going to be speaking to us, giving us that closing argument. Why should the people of St. Philip North vote for him? And why should they install the app? Okay, so you're going to hear from him coming up. And then we have from Trinidad, UMAR Abdullah. I'm sure some of you would have seen a video going around with a Muslim cleric, and he was concerned about the Barbados elections and really concerned about the Mia Motley, and whether she, if she goes back into power, how that will, in his mind, impact the rest of the Caribbean. And we have also Melissa is coming on with our closing argument. I'm hoping Alex Mitchell, I'm waiting on him to respond. As I said, a lot of them are in the field. And we're going to have Maria Agard is going to come on. Sean Carter is going to come on. They are with the APP. And I've slotted a time for Solutions Barbados to come on as well. So listen, we should have quite a few people on tonight if all goes well, because we want them to be in the field canvassing, right? We want them to be there canvassing. But if they, once they're finished, they can just jump on here and make the closing arguments. Let me just welcome everybody who is on. Hey, Mr. Hoyt. Hey, Mr. Hoyt. You're having your tea. I'm having coffee tonight. I'm having coffee tonight. Was at the High Court with Mr. Philip Springer for most of today, just being there as support, myself and several others, Lumumba, Emmanuel, we were there. I left a Fallon Best with him. Listen, we are working together, and we just wanted to just be there to support him. So so I'm drinking coffee tonight, but don't mind, I'm all set and ready. Hey, Kathy Weeks. Guys, you know what we're going to do? We have to share, right? We're talking about our third parties tonight, guys, all right? So we're going to share. We need you to share. We need you to share. Don't just come on. Tomorrow is a day, and they don't have the budget. I say that every night. And so they are depending on you to share. They're depending on you to share, to let people know that they're on, and so that they'll be able to hear them. Pammy Paris, welcome, Pammy. And Pammy, have you shared? Kathy Weeks, have you shared? Mr. Hoyt, I know you're having your tea. Have you shared? Okay. All right. So without any further ado, I'm going to ask Mr. Nigel Newton to join us in the studio. and he is the APP candidate for St. Philip North. And I'm here in St. Philip as well. I'm in St. Philip South, but he is a candidate for St. Philip North. And Kathy, you're from St. Philip. Please share this out. Share it out, man. And let people know. I see Mr. Hoyt saying I share as soon as you started. Yes, so we want the numbers to go up tonight. It's a final night, and we want to make it worth their while. All right, so here we go. Mr. Nigel Newton, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes, indeed. It is good to be on your show.
Yes, sir. How do you feel being, it's tomorrow. What's going on in your mind? What's going on in your heart?
Well, I am quite comfortable in my mind. I am convinced that I did my best throughout my constituency.
Mhm.
Um, I have not done all of the areas because of the COVID situation, but the in areas that I have visited and engaged with the people, I am satisfied with the reception
Mhm.
and the anticipation because
Mhm.
several of my constituents are
Mhm.
anticipating change. There
Right,
are.
Mr. Newton. Let me just pause. They want to see your face, and they're saying you're. Do you have your light on in your room?
Yes, there are, but I believe it could be a problem with the camera. I only
Ah,
dis- I only discovered that as I came on. It
yes.
is possible that there's a problem with the camera.
With the
So
camera itself. With the camera.
yeah,
Okay. Well, we're
yeah.
hearing you quite good. So his screen is a little dark. Yes,
Oh,
Mammy.
can you
But
see me? Can you see me better now?
I think a little better. But we can hear you really strong, really strong.
Okay. Or
So
maybe I was a bit too far away from the camera.
so can you talk to us about what how was the canvassing? What has it been like as you met the people? What are they saying to you?
Well, the candidates, I mean, no, sorry, I'm sorry. The constituents are rather concerned about a number of issues which they raised with me, and I really intend to do my best for them when I am elected.
Hmm.
They raise concerns such as employment.
Right.
Uh, many, yes, many of the youth are concerned about employment. uh, a lot of them, they did inform me that they have a lot of skill, many skills, so to speak, and they identified those skills, like especially in the construction area, but
Yes.
they are not working, and they also express a deep concern about um, the well, about other persons being allowed to come in and uh, work on the major construction sites that are in Barbados, and they did mention quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Example, Sam Lord's Castle. I think
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they they also are concerned about the road construction in the Scotland area district and the personnel who will be constructing that road. Okay. Um, Another constituent raised the issue of after school programs for children to help them overcome the impact of the COVID 19 pandemic. Uh, as you know, a lot of our children are, in fact, school children are out of school as a result of the COVID 19 pandemic, and they are not able to interact, have the social interaction with their peers and so forth. And then the constant viewing of the tablet is having an impact on their eyes and on them generally speaking. So they need after school programs to help them to deal with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. They said that they're also concerned for the youth, for the young people. They said the youth need to be engaged in these programs in order to help them recognize how their behavior and what they do impact their community and the nation on a whole. Okay, and then well, of course, this is also related to the COVID-19 pandemic. They are concerned about the mental health of children. The mental health of children is of grave concern to many parents and so forth, since they are absent from school. And of course, I would have mentioned that earlier. They don't have the social interaction which will help them in their development, in the early stages of development. Another concern is the community activities for the youth and the elderly. One community is very concerned that there are no activities for the elderly. Okay, and they need to see something done in the area of activities, programs for the elderly. Um, One of the major issues that came up is access to land. The need to have in some of the communities that I visited is quite built up, you know, a lot of houses and so forth, and there is no room for green space, as they call it. And some of the young people, they are interested in gardening and in agriculture generally, but there is no access to land where they can practice their farming skills and so forth. So, and then of course, and finally, um, especially the young men, they are crying out for legal and judicial reform. And this is especially in the area of child maintenance and access to their children. They are complaining that they are paying maintenance at court, and at times it is very difficult and frustrating to have access to their children and to interact with their children and to be a part of the children's development. So they are, and of course they are concerned that too many of them are sent to prison when they are unemployed and are unable to pay the child maintenance. Then they have to go up to prison, and they think that that is wrong and that something must be done about that. And of course, being a retired probation officer, it was my duty and responsibility to interview um, applicants for child maintenance and to prepare what we call a means inquiry report. And that means inquiry report will influence the court in its decision when it comes to child maintenance. So the young men are crying out. Too many of them are going to prison, not only for child maintenance, but other reasons. And they are crying out for legal and judicial reform so as to ease the pressure on them. And of course, in the 2018 general elections, I styled myself the people's defender, right? Nigel Newton, the people's defender. And I prefer that title or that phrase rather than representative, because very often we hear politicians say, well, I am your representative. But then as the election is closed and they go into parliament, they become untouchables. They are not accessible to the people. And very often they are not represented to their satisfaction. Okay, but I think given the concerns of the people, given those concerns that they raised with me, and from my own experience, I think the people need someone to defend them. And if no other time But no, especially with COVID vaccine and the mere suggestion that because a person came down with if they're COVID positive, then they are excluded from exercising their franchise. Okay, so I am concerned about what is happening to people, and I style myself the people's defender, and I think it is about time that I take my struggle for equity and justice into Parliament. Now, throughout my life, I have always wondered why people of African descent were treated the way they were treated. We are treated, rather. We are treated, being treated that way. And I would ask questions. I sought answers in various fields. For example, I saw answers in church. Okay, and then I sought answers in the justice system as a probation officer. Then I realized that these were not fully equipping me, and then I went to the KFL campus of the University of the West Indies, and I did my bachelor's in philosophy with psychology, and that has the study of these two subjects enhanced my critical skills, critical thinking skills, my analytical skills, so that I am in a better position to analyze what is happening to us. I see. What is happening to us as a people, okay? So I style myself the people's defender, and it is time. The time is right now for me to go on the floor of Parliament and continue my struggle for justice, for equity, and economic sovereignty of my people.
Wow, awesome, Mr. Newton. And he's making his case. We're just going to break for an APP ad. The song, I mean, I'm sure this is his theme song and everybody loves the APP song. But listen, we wanted to move from just loving the song to going out tomorrow and voting your conscience. Tonight we're talking about voting your conscience, and you hear Mr. Newton is talking about being a defender, the people's defender, and that is what APP is about. Okay, that is what Mr. Newton is talking about, being the people's defender, voting APP. So here's the theme song, and when we come back, I want Mr. Newton to take the next couple minutes and give us that closing closing argument. Speak to the people. Why should they vote for you, and why should they install the app? Why should they vote for APP? So let's go to the ad.
We rocking with the ABD. We voting the ABD. We have chosen early. We voting for ABD. Yes, we believe, so we unite. Together hand in hand, we stand up against the fight. Corruption, that's so denied. Every nation from the fair and equal right. Integrity, our philosophy. Good governance is what we've got to give. We say no more big bad wolf parties. It's time for change, so vote the APP. We rocking with the APP. We voting the APP. With Bishop chosen early. We voting for APP. We voting for what we love. We know most of them got to go. We has not down in the sand. We know utterly is demand. No more one party politics. No more big trucks and no more tricks. No more one party politics. No more big trucks and no more tricks. We rocking with the Alliance Party for we voting the Who we voting for? 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 Who we voting for?
All right, all right, all right. Who we voting for? Is it APP? Is it APP that we're voting for? So
Yes, indeed.
we're going to go right to Mr. Newton, and Mr. Newton is going to give us his closing arguments of why should St. Philip North vote for him, and why should Barbados install the app. Take it away, Mr. Newton.
The people of St. Philip North will have in me a genuine defender, one who will defend their interests, because I believe that it is time parliamentary representatives stay in touch with their constituents. And throughout my life, I would say that I have always maintained a close contact, not only with the people in St. Philip, but across Barbados. All right. And I am genuinely interested in the development of people, the really genuine development of the people. Now, but one of the things I would like to do for the people in St. Philip North is to institute or to establish what I call a festival of renewal, a festival of renewal, because we know our history well. We know our history well, and we are descendants of slaves and so on. Yes, we know that history, but I'm not satisfied that we have done enough to heal ourselves from the ravages of slavery. Okay, because all of the social and economic problems, and indeed the family issues that I mentioned earlier, these are issues that are still coming out of our past. All right, and therefore, for me, I am going to establish a festival of renewal, which will help the people to deal with all of the social issues. Because when we deal with the economics, when we deal with the playing fields and so on and so forth, yes, those things are good, but I think we still have to deal with our psychological health, and I don't think that we are as healthy as we should be when it comes to our psychological health and our thinking, critical thinking skills. So when they vote for me, I will do my best to recommend programs that would be able to help us to heal from the ravages of our unfortunate past, right? And of course, in terms of the APP now, I am satisfied that the APP is the right party for this moment. The APP, the Alliance Party for Progress, is the right party for this juncture in our history. The other two parties have failed. Barbados, in my estimation, is a failed state because of the many problems that we are now confronted with, for example, our debt, our international debt. And for me, Barbados is a failed state, and there is need for a new approach to governance, ethical governance, and governance that is characterized by morality. And I believe and I know in my heart that the APP, the Alliance Party for Progress, is the party for this time, and especially since we have the capable leadership of our Bishop Joseph Atherley and his deputy Lynette Eastman. I am satisfied that they have the integrity and the intent to bring difference to Barbados and to governance in Barbados. And I am saying to the people of St. Philip North and the people in Barbados generally wake up, stand up, and take charge of your destiny. And I'm urging you, download the app, the Alliance Party for Progress. Install the app, the Alliance Party for Progress, and put the Alliance Party for Progress to work on your behalf, because I guarantee you, you will have genuine representation. And of course, in me, to the I will be given to the residents of St. Philip. No, I will be their defender, and I will defend them with all my strength and with all of my energy. I am the people's defender. Give me your support.
We rocking with the ABB. We voting the ABB. With Bishop Joseph early. We voting for ABB. Yes, we believe, so we unite. Together hand in hand, we stand against the fight. Corruption that's so denied. Every nation from the fair and equal rights. Integrity, our philosophy. Good governance is what we've got to give. We say no more big bad wolf parties. It's time for change, so vote the APP. We rocking with the APP. We voting the APP. With Bishop Joseph early. We voting for APP. We voting for what we know. We know most of them got to go. The heads not down in the sand. We know utterly is demand. No more one party politics. No more big shots and no more tricks. No more one party politics. No more big shots and no more tricks. We rocking with the Alliance Party for Progress. We exist for your best children. We voting who we voting for? 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 Who we voting for?
All right. Who we voting for?
We voting
And I was talking all the way and muted. So I'm saying I hope they will install the app. Install the app in St. Philip North. Install the app and vote for Mr. Nigel Newton. And he will be an advocate for the people. Yes, Mr. Nigel Newton in St. Philip North. Install the app. Thank you so much, sir, for being here tonight.
Thank you. Right. Right.
God bless. Oh my goodness, that song is so infectious. Anybody else love that APP song? Who else love that song? Who else love that APP song? I didn't hear a song from Solutions Barbados, but they're coming up. Later in the program, we're going to have Melissa is going to be back. I'm hoping Patricia Cox can come on. You know, guys, they're out in the field. They are making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? So, you know, they're going to be coming on. Share. Mr. Hoyt is saying share. Come on, our numbers should be higher than this, guys. We are here to serve these younger parties. And as with my friend, Mr. Hoyt, you know, I have not met him in person, but he's been on all of these shows. And I think somehow we've won him over as a, you know, he's a believer in the younger parties now. He's a total believer, and he's saying that you better all do well because he and I will be in your skin. You know that. You know that. Listen, I've dubbed myself as part of the opposition. Just know that. And Mr. Hoyt is joining me, and everybody in Barbados need to say, I am part of the opposition, right? We part of the opposition, we the people, all right? So very, very important. And Mr. Hoyt is saying, share, 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 share. Guys, our numbers need to be higher than this. It's the last night, and we are, making sure that everybody get this message out. We're voting for Alliance Party for Progress, is what Kalisa Cox is saying. And let me tell you something. These younger parties, one of the things that they all have in common, and I love this, it's about the mandates. While they're not against vaccines, all of our younger parties are saying, listen, allow the people to choose. I can't say, much for those other parties, but I know the younger parties are saying to the people, to the 48% of Barbados who have not been vaccinated, they are saying to the 48% of Barbados, listen, we understand, and we are saying it's your body and your choice. Isn't that awesome? Listen, we have not been hearing that in Barbados for a long time. So listen, man, listen, come on, guys. This is app. This hour is for app, so I'm going to say install the app. Okay, install the app. We're rocking with app. Who rocking with app? Put your name in the comment section if you're rocking with app. Oh Lord, who voting for app? Wonderful. And we have another ad lined up for you. This is all APP hour. We don't have Mr. Belgrave is supposed to be here, but I know they are some of them have been out there for the entire day, and they are hitting the pavement. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And so we have another one coming up for you. All right. Another one coming for you. Wayne P say we're rocking with APP. And Mr. Philip Springer is going to be coming in anytime soon. I'm just looking at my phone to see when he's finished. All right. And so he should be coming in really, really soon, into the studio. And we want to make sure that we're sharing so we get to know from him firsthand what is happening. And he is from BSP. And at that time, we say we're rocking with BSP, right? We're supporting all the younger parties. Okay. All right. So let's hear another ad.
We voting the with Bishop Joseph Atherley. We voting for ABD. Yes, we believe, so we unite. Together hand in hand, we stand up against the fight. Corruption that's so denied. Every agent from the fair and equal rights. Integrity, our philosophy. Good governance is what we've got to give. We say no more big bad wolf parties. It's time for change on board the APP. We rocking with the APP. We voting the APP. With Bishop Joseph Atherley. We voting for APP. We voting for what we love. We know most of them got to go. The heads not down in the sand. We know Atherley is the man. No more one party politics. No more big trucks and no more tricks. No more one party politics. No more big trucks and no more tricks. We rocking with the Alliance Party for Progress. We exist for your best. Joseph Atherley. We voted for ABD. Who we voted for? 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 ABD.
You can tell I love that song. I know long after the election gone, I've been like, who you voting for? Who you voting for? I love it. I love it. It gets you moving. Mr. Hoyt said he was there dancing with his tea in his hand. Listen, in your house, you just start to dance. It's all about the APP in this hour. Yes, and we're sharing, guys. Don't stop sharing. Don't stop sharing. Don't stop sharing. Keep sharing, Natasha. Natasha dancing. Welcome, Natasha. Natasha is dancing all the way. And listen, guys, we are speaking, appealing to those, persons who are, or you might be somebody who go to church, or you're religious minded. You could be Rastafari, you could be Muslim. Whatever you are, and you have a religious leaning, this election is very, very important for you. Very important. It's important that you vote your conscience. It's important because we don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years, guys. This is an important election. And I'm appealing to us, vote your conscience. Vote, and when you're finished in your heart, you know that, listen, I have made the right decision. And here we have an infomercial here from APP, and this is why we need to vote our conscience. Please share, guys. Please share.
In the global space, this matter of pedophilia, they're saying that this euphemistically should be called minor attracted persons. So this is a sexual orientation which is being promoted as being all right to inferior little children. That is your orientation. So like that, hello. When you put that in a charter, be careful you do not arrive at an outcome that you do not intend. And some idiot from some part of the world come and use the wording here to challenge in court a position that they hold, that it is all right for them to interfere with little boys and little girls, and that they can prove under the law that they are right in so doing. He who does not see that prefers to be blind.
Open your eyes, Barbados. Open your eyes, your spiritual eyes. See what is happening. See what is happening when this election is completed. Then they're going to go straight to the Constitution. The charter is a foundation for the Constitution. And the charter, there are some hidden things in the charter. And this is what Reverend Atherley is speaking of. And so it is very important. Vote your conscience, guys. If you are someone within the church, or you have some religious leading, or you're just an upright citizen, and you don't want to see Barbados going in a certain direction, it's going to be very important that you vote your conscience. Vote for what you believe is right. Vote for when you vote, you can go and lay down at night and you feel comfortable. A lot of you made mistakes in 2018. You did some things there, and we got to go back and say, no, we can't do that again. So this is a different vote, guys. Different vote, a vote of conscience. A vote when you go to lay down on your bed, you say, okay, well, yes, you know what? That's I did the right thing. Yeah. Another informational.
God is the boss, all who vex, well, they lost, not a thing they can take from way. Tell them God is the boss, all who vex, well, they lost, not a thing they can take away.
Yeah, that would, man, pull up. We have to play that one again. God is with boss. You remember when they were talking about no God? Talking about no God and talking about no massa and no God. You remember that? Who remember that? Anybody? Before we pull that one up again. Lorraine, you remember that? Natasha, you remember that? Mr. Hoyt, you remember that? But no God in this republic. You remember that? You remember how they want to talk about they taking God from out of the Constitution? Who remember that? Anybody remember that? Make sure we let them know that. We need to remind them of that tomorrow, guys. Vote your conscience. Whose side are we on? Let this be, anybody who remember it. Nobody responding to me. Who remember? Nobody remember that. Okay, Kathy Weeks, you remember that? But we're saying God is the boss. God is your boss. God is the foundation of this country. Let's hear that again.
God is the boss. All who vex, well, they lost. Not a thing they can take from way. Tell them God is the boss. All who vex, well, they lost. Not a thing they can take away.
Yeah, we're telling them all, God is with boss. Colin Jordan, God is with boss. Mia Motley, God is with boss. Sandra Husband's God. You should have known better too, Sandra Husband. You should know better. You should know better and not allow that woman to let you go in there and sin your soul. Sandra Husbands, you should know better. You should know better than that. Listen, you should know better. We telling them God is the boss. Mia Motley, God is the boss. You didn't know that? God is the boss. God is the boss. Yeah. All day, all along, right? God is with boss, 100%, right? Natasha Stevens said 100%. Anybody else? God is with boss? No. Anybody need God in this republic here? Who are the people out there that need God in this republic? If you need God in this republic, write it down at the bottom there. Type God in this republic if you want God in this republic. No, listen. Woo, let me see this one here. Kathy Weeks said God is with boss. God is with boss.
We voted the Bishop Joseph early. We voted for
Okay, there seems to be a little challenge here, but you saw the picture. You got it. It's David and Goliath. And let me tell you something. It's a real David and Goliath situation, Kathy Weeks. This is a David and Goliath situation. These younger parties, I tell you this, right? These younger parties, they don't even have an eighth. They don't even have an eighth of the funding that these larger parties have. Not even an eighth. Not even an eighth. It's people pulling their pockets, and making this thing happen. And I mean, it's as it's like you're in this race, and you know what, in Jamaica they say they lens you, right? they're way ahead. They're way ahead, and they run way ahead, and then hit the gun, right? The gun off, and there comes everybody else trying to catch up, and they think that is fair, right? So we rocking with APP, David and Goliath. Yeah. Okay. Now, Kathy is saying we want God in this republic, right? We want God in this republic. And listen, this is for Muslim, Hindu, Christian, Rastafari, everybody. You know what? It's all about having God. God. This has been our foundation. Why are we changing that now? Share the live, guys. Share the live, guys. Share the live. We listen. This is a night of victory. Share the live. We have coming up. Umar Abdullah. Umar Abdullah is going to join us in a couple minutes. We're getting some other infomercials ready for us. So we have some more coming up, and just waiting on those to come up. But we have joining us in 4 minutes is Mr. Umar Abdullah, and he is from Trinidad. And you would have seen this thing went viral here, And listen to me, I'm going to tell you all the truth. This thing went viral, right? So you're going to hear him coming up, and you got to share, guys. We need more people than this on this live tonight. We need more people than this on this live tonight. This one, we unseating this despot tonight. Unseating. We declaring victory. V. All right, unseating. Let's hear from her.
Who to call despotic?
It is not often that I come before the Honorable Prime Minister, but I believe that when she was making her decisions in relation to choosing a Minister of Education, she certainly knew that it was not going to be an easy task, having been the person who would have led this ministry during her tenure. And I say that, and she knows what I'm saying, because many times I feel as though the Prime Minister is still the Minister of Education.
I feel as though the Prime Minister is still the Minister of Education.
Who to call despotic?
The Barbados Party is now allowing itself to become no more than a cushion to bear the imprint of the object that is sitting upon it.
Listen, this one serious. This one is serious. And I tell you, you don't just go and ask Miss Mo. You ask Miss Mo. Miss Mo, you hear what Miss Mo said? Miss Mo said she's frightened. Miss Mo said she's frightened, and then she's telling us that it is safer with her. Listen, you better run. You see her coming one way, you run the next. You run the next, because it's not safer. It is not safer. It is not safer at all. Udeline, welcome. Udeline said we're rocking with APP. Welcome. All right, so we have with us in the studio Mr. UMAR ABDULLAH from the First Wave Movement. And I'm asking, yes, I see the numbers going up. I need you to share. This is all about the third-party candidates coming up at 7:30. We're hoping to have Mr. Philip Springer and Kathleen Springer, and he is the candidate who filed the injunction today. And we're going to hear from him. After Mr. Abdullah, we wanted to share. So here we have our guests, Mr. UMAR ABDULLAH. Welcome, sir.
Greetings to all the viewers.
Yes, good to see you. How is Trinidad?
Well, Trinidad is pensive as ever. Every day is a new challenge, as you would have seen from the behavior of the police in our last demonstration at the Queen's Park Savannah, where the police resorted to the use of tear gas and rubber bullets by some reports that we would have gotten. So you know, they're not letting up at all. They're continuing their charade, and they're continuing the oppression of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm supposing the same is happening throughout the Caribbean region. This is why it is so important for us to to stop them in their tracks. And the agendas, we need to destroy the agenda. And we need to do the simple things as not voting back in power those persons who are carrying out this agenda presently. So if we do that, we are going to set them back a number of months or probably years. And I'm hopeful that the Bajan people, do what is right. I understand that a matter was filed in court to stop the elections. I don't know the details much about it, but I guess you will probably fill me onto that. But we are seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. We are winning. We're not losing.
Correct.
Don't ever believe that we are losing. We are winning. The entire agenda is crumbling before them, and that's why they're using every dirty trick in the book. And we have seen it. We have recognized it. And we have told them that we are not going to allow it to continue.
Yes. Mr. Abdullah, I remember when the election was called in Trinidad and Tobago. And, you know, at that time, you did not have this kind of stringent mandatory, in fact, the safe zones and all of these mandatory, you know, operations, they started after that election. And I think, as I think about Barbados, there's some things, you know, like they're holding back, you know, Mr. Abdullah, like they're holding back, and then you know, after tomorrow, it's like they're going to let it loose. What are your thoughts about that? Being, you know, a Trinidadian, and you would have seen the movement of that prime minister. What do you have to say to Barbados?
Well, could you just repeat what you just said? Something just came up on my phone there and distracted me a bit.
Right, I was saying that before the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the elections, you know, it was okay. Things were mild in terms of the mandates and the safe zones and you know, all of the stringent measures that were placed on the people. However, after the elections, you know, things started to, you know, the heat was turned on. Is this what your video was about? That, you know, it seemed like you were warning Barbados. Can you expound on that a bit?
Yes. Absolutely. What we saw happen there in Tobago was a signal that the entire Caribbean ought to follow. And that signal was, you know, Tobago rejected the prime minister, not just him, but his entire, you know, cast of cohorts. They rejected the policies that they would have brought. They rejected their promises. Imagine that. Promises are being rejected in a country. That is when you are at your lowest, at your zero. All right. And we would have indicated and we would have told the PDP that they stand in a very, very unique place where they can change the entire landscape of politics within the Caribbean region. And, you know, we were looking towards Barbados, that election that was called the snap election. I'm not too sure what Mia Motley was thinking at the time, but she certainly is putting a final nail in a coffin once she goes to the polls. And we need to ensure that you know, what exactly what happens.
You know, all of these Caribbean islands, you know, I think that they're watching what's happening in Barbados, because our prime minister here seemed to have been tapped. That's the word I use, by the elites, by these different international organizations. What are your thoughts about that?
Yes, and that was exactly my sentiment when I sent out that video. As a matter of fact, it was two videos I sent out. One explaining in more detail why it is so necessary for the Bajans to remove Mia Motley. We have to understand something that is very critical to our understanding of this entire pandemic, and that is the elite, the global elite. They own everything. They're the owners of everything. They control everything. They control governments. They control the media. They control the banks. They control big pharma. They control every single thing. You know, the only thing they do not control is the people. They don't. And they recognize that. They realize that. And the only way they can control the people is to, you know, have people take these poisons into their system, into their bodies. And when a person does that, they sign over their right of ownership of that body to another entity, a wicked, evil entity that does not care about you, that does not care about your family, does not care about your future, your children. They just don't care. And Mia Motley was placed, and she has you know, established herself, you know, poised to take up that lead in the Caribbean region. She performed very well at the United Nations. I don't know how many people recognize that. And she would have gotten a lot of applause after her performance there at the United Nations. And so too, in many speeches, very flowery, very attractive. You understand? Attracting those people who, you know, want to hear nice, pleasant things and what she's saying and so on and so forth. But that's just the bait. That's a fisherman baiting his hook. It's a fisherman casting his net. And be careful, you Bajan people. Careful, you are going to be caught. And when you are caught, you will not be able to release yourself from that trap, because it's going to go downhill from there onwards. And you have to stand firm. You have to take control of yourself. Taking control of yourself is taking control of your family. Taking control of your family is taking control of your future and your children's future. So let us keep that in mind, and do not allow these people to come and cast this cloud over you, this cloud of uncertainty, and put you in that situation where you're constantly concerned about your welfare, you're constantly concerned about your future, and you're fearful and frightened. And that's why you're running and taking these injections and bowing to the demands of this totalitarian regime that is sweeping itself across the Caribbean region.
And I'm listening to you, and I think that what you're saying is so very, very important, that we take this warning, guys, because if it was up to her, there would be people in Barbados right now who would not be able to go to the hospital. Let's not forget that. If it was left up to Mia Motley, the safe zones would have been implemented, Mr. Abdullah. The safe zones would have been implemented. And I know that right after this election, she has to, this is what she's planning to continue to do. But, a lot of the younger parties, we're calling them younger parties, they're totally against the mandatory vaccinations. They are against safe zones. And so these are the parties that we need to look at. Listen, we are thinking about the future. We're thinking about the future. But, Mr. Abdullah, you would have listened to some of the speeches, and throughout the Caribbean, it has been said, people are saying, oh my God, she's such a great orator. And, the speeches and all of these things. And in Trinidad, what's the general feel about Mia Motley in Trinidad?
Well, a lot of the citizens would have applauded her, like I said, when she presented herself at the United Nations, and they scoffed at the Prime Minister and ridiculed the Prime Minister on his performance, and that would have lent a bit of an attractive sort of atmosphere, attracting people towards your flowery performance. And I think a lot of people were fooled by that performance, and a lot of people did not hear exactly what she said in those speeches, and what exactly was the sentiment and the things that she was saying. And imagine she would have said just recently, the reason why she would have called the snap election is that there's a lot of major decisions that has to be made. What are those decisions? What are those, choices that you're talking about? Are we talking about the New World Order? Are we talking about a totalitarian government that you are going to be part and parcel of, or you're going to be very instrumental in setting up here in the Caribbean region? Tell us what this is all about. All right. You call in a general election, knowing fully well that you have the majority support in Parliament. You have the majority support in the island of Barbados. Why do you need to call a general election? Why do you need 3 more years in power? Why do you need 3 more years in power? What's the agenda? Do you understand? So we're not fools. We're looking at it very closely. And every single word that comes out your mouth, we're going to analyze it. We're going to dissect it. And we're going to bring the truth to the people and continue to tell the people what is truth and what is lies.
Amen, amen. And I'm thinking as we're talking here, what are some of the changes that you think that will happen in the Caribbean if the plan that these elites have, if I'm sure they're sitting right tonight, they're just want at the edge of their seats. And they want her back in power. What are some of the changes you see across the Caribbean that could possibly happen with her being re-elected?
Well, there's already an alignment of what is taking place in all the Caribbean islands. We see the healthcare system or failed healthcare system throughout the Caribbean islands, where persons are presenting themselves with an ailment and they're being treated for COVID-19 once they're tested positive for COVID-19. They're not being treated for those ailments that they originally presented themselves within the hospitals. We are seeing where the PCR test is going to continue to yield those high numbers for these Caribbean islands. And this fear factor, this fear mongering is going to continue throughout the different islands with their safe zones. Businesses and companies are continue to instruct their workers they need to get these injections, or else they will not have a job. Their contracts will not be renewed, and so there's going to be a simultaneous destruction of the economic system here in the Caribbean region. And when as much as we are talking about these vaccine mandates and so on, these things have nothing to do with your health. It has never been about health. It has always been about the resetting of the economic system of the world. It has always been about that. It's not about health. It's about crashing the economy, crashing or getting rid of, deleting the middle class. And that is what is going to happen throughout the Caribbean region. And those persons who hold the reign of power presently in our country, if we do not remove them, they're going to continue along this path. So what we have to do is to put a spoke into their their agenda, and to destroy it and crumble it. And it's the only way that we now will have that opportunity to form ourselves in an alliance throughout the Caribbean region and establish that one government that is going to be true to the people in the Caribbean. And we have to do that. If we do not do that, and we decide that we're going to go do our own things throughout the Caribbean region, we're going to do our own this and that and the other, it's not going to work. They're going to come to destroy us. They're going to come to destroy us. The only way we can survive is if it is we unite and we come together under one umbrella, right? The Federation had failed in the past. Let us teach them how true federation can work in the Caribbean region. And the only persons can do that is not the politicians. It is the people who have heart, the people who have the mind and the passion with love and affection for each other.
Sardia is saying no new world order, and that is part of the challenge that we have with what is, this reinstalling of Mia Mottley. I think that there is her slogan is that it's safer with Mia, but truthfully we don't feel safer with Mia, because right now I'm not sure if you're seeing that the CDC saying that you're going to probably need four shots, right? You need four shots.
But that slogan, safer with Mia, I mean, who came up with that in the first place? That's a direct that's selling yourself out, because the very fact that you're saying that is because you are the opposite of that. Because when we look at what is happening in countries like Japan and Uttar Pradesh in India and Central Africa and Brazil and these places where alternative methods are being used to treat with COVID-19, and those and we see the number and so forth. How can you come to us and say feel safer with you? Feel safer with you? How can we feel safer with you when you are peddling the agenda of the elite? When you're peddling the agenda of the agenda of Big Pharma, when you're peddling the agenda of these crooks and these criminals, how can we feel safer with you? We're not going to feel safer with you. We are better off with ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. We are better off with that. We are better off with early treatment methods. We are better off with alternative treatment for COVID-19 and what have you. We are better off with informed consent. Where is the informed consent? How can you say feel safer with you when there's no informed consent when you go to take this poison at these injection sites? How can you say that? Right? It's not safe with you now, and it's not going to be safer with you if you remain involved.
Wow, this is a really passionate plea here, and we need the Barbadians to wake up. And why it matters, it does matter to Mr. Abdullah, because it affects the Caribbean. We recognize that the leader that they have chosen to carry this message and to carry out the plan of the World Economic Forum is Mia Mottley. In fact, in her manifesto, if you take a look at our manifesto sheet, there is a reference, several references to 2030. Listen, why would there be reference to 2030 when she's in another 5 years, right? But she's making reference to 2030, which is what the World Economic Forum says in 2030. What is going to happen? We will. What does it say? We will own nothing and we'll be happy. Right? Do you want to talk about 2030, Mr. Abdullah?
Well, there's so much to talk about, and we would have seen the rollout of ID 2020 agenda here in Trinidad and Tobago under the Kamala administration, and when the PNM came into power, they continued that agenda. And if people were to have copy or be privy to some parts of that, and there are people who are privy of some parts of that ID 2020 agenda, you are going to get goosebumps. Practically, you're going to get goosebumps. And this 2030 that is being spoken about, it's giving you a false promise. It's a fairy tale that making you believe that you would own nothing and be happy. How can you own nothing and be happy? How can that ever be? When the very aspect of human life and human endeavors is to own something, is to hold something that's tangible. It's to have hope in something that is tangible, that is real. So how can you say that we can be happy and have nothing? How can we be happy and have no hope? How can we be happy and have no future? How can we be happy and don't know what tomorrow is going to bring? It's ridiculous to even think that. So this fancy flowery language that she's accustomed using, be careful with that. Be careful, all right? That's a serpent, and that serpent is going to sting you, and you're going to die a miserable death. You're going to die a miserable death.
I'm here listening to you, and I realize that especially in Jamaica, my own land of birth, when you talk about Mia Mottley, she's they talk about her speeches and so on. However, when they realize what this little stunt that she pulled with the saying that those who are if you are infected right now in Barbados, we have thousands of people who are infected with this virus, they're saying, okay, and there's no provisions have been made for them to vote, and this is why the injunction happened today. This is, well, not that it happened, but that it was brought today because of this. Okay, and now you're hearing a lot of Jamaicans are saying, "What? This is our our Caribbean darling. Why? How are we? Why is there? Why is this happening? I want to hear what is happening in Trinidad. Read that, because it just seems like voter suppression to me."
Well, it's the exact same thing that is happening in Trinidad, where the numbers keep going up. We are at 3,000, just about 3,200 deaths presently in Trinidad in less than 7 months. In less than 7 months, and we would have seen that increase over time. And what was very alarming when we looked at the figures, when this safe zone was implemented here in Trinidad and Tobago, we saw a 700% increase in deaths. Believe it or not, a 700%.
Repeat that, because I know that is one of the things that's going to happen as soon as, if she goes back into power, we're going to have the safe zones. So
Yeah.
repeat what you just said.
When the safe zone started here in Trinidad, and we looked at the figures and we analyzed the figures, because we are working closely with some other groups, Responsible Parents, TT, CTAG, which is COVID-19 advocacy group, Transparency Advocacy Group of Trinidad and Tobago, and they would have been doing a lot of analysis and a lot of research work into the area of these vaccines and these mandates and so on. And when we had looked at the figures after the safe zones, we would have seen a 700% increase in deaths in Trinidad and Tobago. This is not the way to go. All right, in all of these safe zones, we have reports where persons are, all those persons who have been injected by these poisons, they're getting sick and they're spreading the COVID-19 to those who are unvaccinated. I know someone, a very dear person to me. She works amongst employees in her company. All of them have taken the injection. She's the only one that did not take that injection. And right now, she's been affected, very, very severely with heavy bleeding for the last 15 days.
Wow.
He has been amongst these people. And persons in that company would have gotten extremely sick. Some of them had to take leave and stay home from work because of the number of injuries that would have occurred after taking these injections. And now she's amongst them. And persons who are taking the boosters seems to be spreading a somewhat very dangerous type of energy amongst people, where people are getting sick in their company. And we are seeing it in doctor's office. They're telling us, they're reporting this to us. People who have taken the booster shot and goes into their office, they're feeling this in their stomach. They're feeling it in their heads. It's dangerous what is happening, right? So these zones are not safe zones. They're dangerous hotspots. That's what these zones are.
Wow. This is guys. Remember, what's interesting is that when Mr. Rowley was campaigning, he didn't tell the people. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hold on. Yeah. It's not going to end.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. It's not going to end. It's going to continue on and on and on. And that's why I made the point the other day that these persons who would have gone and take these injections, they were betrayed by this government, because they were told, when you take the injections, you would not get sick, you would not end up in the hospital, and you would not die. You would reduce your chances of getting sick. And then after they came back and said, you reduce the chances of you getting sick, reduce the chances of going to the hospital, and reduce the chances of dying. But that's not the case. And now they're being told that they're under-vaccinated because they have to go and take a booster. And the booster now is being called the primary booster, the primary shot, and the fourth jab is being called the booster. It's ridiculous. And every step of the way we see how they are being caught, fumbling. They're being caught lying. They're being caught, being deceptive to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and persons who have taken those jobs now are vowing they're not going to take those boosters. Persons who would have taken one job have told us, I am not going to take the second, because they were lied to, and they're seeing it. And that's why the big pushback. And that's why when we went to the Queen's Park Savannah, they were scared when they saw the amount of people that came out. They're getting scared. They're running scared. I was told that the Minister of National Security ordered the police, ordered the guard and emergency to come down and use tear gas and rubber bullets on the crowd. I was told he gave that order.
And listen, guys, this is after he was voted in. And once he was comfortable, is this
Yeah.
what you're saying? Once he was
Yes.
comfortable, then he was
The
able
minister,
to
let me
unleash.
tell you all this. And this is what is going to happen in Barbados. All right. The Minister of National Security is wearing the cap of the Commissioner of Police presently because he's giving orders to the police. He's a minister. He's a Minister of National Security. He's responsible for policy, right? And he's giving orders to the police, right? The Minister of Health is wearing the cap of the Chief Medical Officer because he's calling the hospitals and ordering the hospitals to do X, Y, Z, right? He called the Augustus Long Hospital the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and instructed them to stop giving out death certificates at that hospital, send the patient or send the families down to San Fernando. He instructed the hospital to do that. You can imagine the Minister of Health doing that? Could you imagine the Minister of Health? And another thing that's going to happen, they're going to use your parliament to commit crimes against you, the people, as they would have done in Trinidad and Tobago with the Data Protection Act, where when the president was on holidays and the parliament was in recess, Christine Kangal, who acted as the president, she came in and proclaimed Section 43, only Section 43 of that act. But let me tell you, that act needed a simple majority in parliament when it was passed. A simple majority because of Section 53, which protected the rights of all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. When no one could access the records, the medical records of any individual in Trinidad and Tobago, except by their own voluntary, permission or by order of the court. But she never proclaimed that section. She only proclaimed Section 43. And listen what Section 43 says. The government can go into any institution and access the medical records of any individual in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow. This is what they're creating. I mean, and this is the same Rowley.
Is this democracy?
What's so funny? This is the same Rowley that had the election in the middle of the pandemic. Okay,
yes.
And nothing of this. He made mention of nothing that he would create. This sounds like a police state.
And they did that in the thief of the night. The thick of the night, they did that. Nobody was paying attention. Nobody was paying attention to that. And Parliament was in recess when they did that. So the opposition could not have, objected to what it is they did.
Oh my goodness. Listen, Barbados, we need to take heed. Take heed, guys. With Mia Motley, there's no choice. We will not have a choice about what goes in our body, because I think, Mr. Abdullah, what you are saying is that it's not that you're saying that nobody should take the vaccines, or there's no, you're not forward. The point is to allow people to choose.
Exactly. But more importantly, allow people to have an informed consent. Voluntarily informed consent. So when you go to take this injection, the doctor or the administering nurse or whosoever must be able to sit down and tell you, look, the side effects of this injection is this, X, Y, Z. Are you comfortable? Do you still want to proceed with this? And you must be able to say if you're comfortable or not. And you must also indicate to you if there are other alternative treatments for this COVID-19 or for this ailment, whatever, right? And give you the side effects of those alternatives as well.
Right.
So doing that. And I'm telling you, if they institute this in all countries, all throughout our Caribbean countries, if they institute this, their agenda is going to be destroyed. Because no one is going to take those injections after they've been told that these are the side effects. Right? Yeah. If you're going to take an injection and somebody tell you, look, this thing could possibly kill you. Are you comfortable with this? Do you still want to go through with this? That's your choice, whether you want to take it or not. That's your choice. Of course, I would not want to take that at that point in time. After I'm being told that if I get COVID-19, I have a 99.97% chance of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want to go and take an injection to
Mm-hmm.
reduce my chances of recovery and then to increase my chances of ending up in the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen clearly where this injection has failed globally. Look at Gibraltar, over 100% vaccinated. Look at what is happening there. Look at what is happening in Israel. Come on, people, open your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Open your eyes and see what is happening. Our
Mm-hmm.
numbers are increasing. All the safe zones, every single measure that they put in place, it's increasing and increasing and increasing. It's not
Mm-hmm.
decreasing. If it was good, it would have decreased.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It would have decreased. It would have come down. Those measures would have brought it down.
Right.
But instead, they put the safe zones in place on a 700% increase in deaths.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you know, for those that are listening, guys, I think let me just clarify here for Mr. Abdullah, you know, as he's been saying, listen, it's about choice. And we know that once Ms. Motley gets back into power, we will not have a choice. People are going to lose their jobs. I know of persons now who are unable to take that that jab in their bodies, and they are worried. I know people are worried because they don't know if she goes back in, I'm going to lose my job. I have to take care of my children. What am I going to do? You know, will I get an exemption? I know teachers. Look at what happened in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Do we think that is going to be any different in here? There are teachers I know already started giving their resignation because they cannot take it in their bodies, and they believe with Mia Motley they will not have a choice.
But the intention is to starve you into submission. That's the intention, to starve you into submission. And that is why the Caribbean people, we have to find ingenious ways to communicate with each other and to assist one another into establishing parallel systems and communities that is going to help feed ourselves and feed our families and will help provide for us. If it is we have to barter and exchange goods and services, we have to start doing that. We have to bring ourselves together, tighten ourselves, and bring ourselves in those communities, tight-knit communities that cannot be broken. And this is what is so important. And every tight-knit community that cannot be broken, that is knitted to the other community, let me tell you all something. There's nothing that is going to pull us apart. Nothing is going to pull us apart.
You know, somebody's here saying, let's work together. And this is what is happening. Trinidad is here warning us because Rowley came to them and told them everything is going to be fine. And now he's creating a police state.
Yes.
A police state is what he's creating. He and those in government. You know, they're taking away the rights of Trinidadians. That is what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, Tobago did something a little different, right?
They rejected him. Kicked him out of his own.
Because that's what
kicked him out of his own island.
Talk to us more about that. Talk to us about that.
Well, I mean, it's quite clear what took place in Tobago that election night when everybody was looking at the Tobago map. The red just keep disappearing. You know, he's still taught in feelings, you know. He's still taught in feelings because that's what he came with the public servants. He knows fully well that the majority of persons, workers in Tobago are public servants. And when he said that they're going to withhold their salary come January the 15th, right? That was payback. That was payback for kicking me out of my island. All right? But let me tell you something, Mr. Rowley. All right? And all the prime ministers and from the Caribbean region, if you feel that you're going to get away with this, you're not going to get away with it. Because let me tell you, the people are still in control. All right? The people is the government. And you all have been employed by us. And all we have to do is by a referendum, get rid of you, fire you, send you back home, right? You, Rowley, you don't have a home no more. You'll have to go to somewhere else because Tobago don't want you, all right? And very same thing is going to see happening throughout the Caribbean region. Barbados is going to tell the same to Mia Motley, and the other Caribbean islands, you're going to see it's going to replicate throughout the other Caribbean islands as well. We need to do this. If it is, we need to save ourselves and our families and our future. We need to do this. We need to take back control. All right. And I would have said it to the PTSD workers yesterday. We went and addressed the workers and give them the moral support that they needed and so on. I told them, I said, look, listen, look yourself in the mirror. Every single day, look yourself in that mirror and ask yourself, am I in control? Am I in control? Am I in control? Do I have autonomy over my body's anatomy? Do I have it? And if the answer is yes, you're in a good place. You're good. And you're going to continue to be good. But the day you stand in front of your mirror and you ask yourself that question, am I in total control? Do I have autonomy over my body's anatomy? And the answer is no. But I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you, your family, and your future. Because that is not a nice place to be.
Sorry, I'm seeing, someone said me as that her position is not clear. But you know what? If it wasn't for the doctors, Mr. Abdullah, the doctors who were beginning to lose money, those safe zones that she wanted to implement was going to happen. And at least Rowley, I think, started it with restaurants and so on. No, not Miss Motley. She was starting it in the healthcare system here in Barbados. So what it meant was that if I was not vaccinated, the lone hospital in Barbados, I would not be able to go to. Listen, let's not forget that. They say Barbados is what? We forget things after 9 days. We can't forget that. This is the same prime minister that is running right now, and you see all the posters in town, vote for Mia Motley for prime minister. It's all over town, And this is the same person. It is the same person who wanted to take away the right of health care from us because we refuse to take a medication. Because we're asking for, diversification. We're asking for different types of, medication. That's all we're asking for. We're asking to have all the remedies so we can choose, Mr. Abdullah. And this is the same person that is before us and want our vote and telling us we are safer with you. How am I going to be safer with you when I cannot get any health care at the hospital?
We have been betrayed by our governments. We have been betrayed by our leaders, and we need to recognize how important it is for us to take back control of our countries, take back control of our islands. And it's very important for us to recognize as well, under the leadership of our present governments, what is happening to our healthcare system, as you would have just heard, and what is happening to our economy as a result of these lockdowns and safe zones and so on. Who are implementing these things? It's the government, the very same government that you voted and put into power. The very same people that you trusted with your lives, the very same people you trusted with your with your jobs, the very same people you trusted with your health. This is what is happening now. You're dying. Your family is dying. Your children are dying, and they're not stopping. They're not going to stop until they destroy you, until they get rid of you. They're not going to stop.
And you know what? But we have the power, and we need to stop them. And we can stop them. And we can stop them. We can stop them with the vote. They did that in Tobago. They remove all the red from Tobago, right? Is it red,
yes,
right?
Yes, all of them.
They took away all the red. They took away the red, and you know what? They took away the red, and they kept their choice and their dignity. They were able now to choose. And Tobago rejected it. Tobago refused it. And Barbados, you can refuse this. Refuse the mandatory vaccination, right? What we are saying is that, listen, in fact, all of the you know what, all of the newer parties, the younger parties are saying no to mandatory vaccination. Here is up. I know they've put out theirs, and so I have theirs. If anybody has anything from the others that you can put in the comment section here, but I have the one from app. This was sent to me. It says no top-down mandates on vaccination, safe zones, or vaccine passes. Vote up, because we understand people have rights. Right, very important. And the thing about is that some of the candidates are themselves vaccinated. Some of the candidates are vaccinated. It's not saying that I am not. I'm all of the candidates are unvaccinated. It's nothing about that. It is about giving people choices. Right, giving people choices, and that is yes.
That I think supposed to be the election message. Vote for choice, vote for freedom. That is what the message ought to be. Vote for choice, vote for freedom. And I think that is going to resonate well with the people of Barbados, because who doesn't want choice? Who does not want choice? Who does not want freedom? I think that speaks well to a human being, and we have to be mindful. If we don't do this, we are going to lose that choice, and we're going to lose that freedom.
We talk about voting for rights and voting for freedom. There are people tomorrow, because of what this government has done, who their rights have been taken away. Their voting rights, and they are not able to vote. And this is just an indication of what is to come, because at the beginning of January, Mr. Umdar, Mr. Abdullah, at the beginning of January, the directives, the COVID directives were amended, right? This was now after the election was called. After we knew it was January 19th, it was amended. The mandates were amended. And I've spoken to a lawyer today that said it would have been very, very, very simple and very easy for Mia Motley and her government to have amended it in such a way that would allow the COVID-19 infected persons to vote. And she did not. And it is so, this is an indication about our rights being taken away.
Yes,
okay?
Definitely. And they try to use scenarios that give people a false hopes and a false prize in that sense, because we saw Rowley did the same thing when the 15th came, the 15th of January. He said that he's going to extend it to the 17th of February. And people thought that was a win for them, but it's not a win for them, right? He did that because he did that because of it is beneficial for him, because he's going to continue to use the coercion and continue to use the force and continue to use the fear mongering to cause those numbers to go up. So people are going to get to the lines and go and join those lines and get those injections. That's what he did. That's why he sent it to he extended to the 17th of February. But people have to be smart. You understand? Extend it how much you want. The numbers are not going to go up. It's not going to go up. It's going to stay where it is. And those who are vaccinated, they're going to stay where they are. They're not going to take the other injections. They're not going to take the other shots. And that's what we need to tell them. That's what we need to let them know, that it's not going to happen.
And Mr. Roach is saying, wake the people up, elder, wake them up. And that is what these younger parties are saying. Wake up, Barbados, wake up out of your slumber, wake up, you cannot put her in. Danny Diallo Hines, hi Danny, is saying the pandemic is a distraction for the government to take further control of people's rights. And all we have to look at is what's happening. There are thousands of people's rights that are being taken away in this election. They will not be able to vote, where it is just a simple amendment could have happened. That's what the lawyer said to me today. It's just an amendment that could have happened and the people would have been able to vote, but no, it was not done, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. As he said, it is a distraction for the government to take further control of the people's rights. So why are we going to install people who are going to continue to take away our rights? Why would we do that? Yeah. And I know, hello there. Hi. You know, and as you have the children there, they're now sourcing you know, more of that for, you know, to stick our children. You know, and that's what she intends to do.
And those and that's our future. Those are the people we are trying to save. And you know, for all those parents out there, we have to recognize the duty and the purpose that you have in your homes, and you are a mentor for your children. You are your children's friend, all right, and you are an example for your children, and you need to set those examples. You need for your children to see in you a hero, someone who will stood for them and stand firm and not allow governments of the world to take away their freedoms, to take away their rights, to take away their choices. And this is what it is all about. Who would want their children to grow up without choices? Who would want their children to grow up without rights? Who would want their children to grow up without freedoms? Who would want that for their children? No one.
Correct. We have coming up soon, guys, Miss Melissa Tate. Melissa Tate will be coming in very soon. Melissa Tate will be in here very, very soon as she come in to talk about you know, what is happening there for her in her constituency, and to give those closing arguments. Okay. Yes, and somebody's asking for St. James South, if my technical person can put up the person for St. James South. I think Purposeful Child here wants a vote for one of our you know, third parties. I'm waiting for Alex Mitchell. I've sent him a message, but a lot of them I know that they're in. You know. So Mr. Abdullah, I know you spent a little longer with us than you intended to, but what's your final thought that you want to leave with Barbadians tonight as a Trini? What do you want to say to Barbados tonight?
You know, we are in the carnival season here in Trinidad and Tobago. If we were celebrating carnival, everybody would have been hearing calypsos and soca coming out of the islands, you know, throughout the Caribbean and all of that. And you know, if we were to look back at how carnival came into existence here in the Caribbean, it was because of a pushback by the slaves themselves, you know, pushing back at the colonials, pushing back at their masters. And, you know, it was an evolution that took place, an evolution of music, an evolution of art, culture. And I think that has brought us to a place where we are now able to look back at the past and take the examples of the past and, you know, use it to help us propel the future, propel ourselves to the future. And if it is we are looking at what took place, you know, that brought carnival into existence in the Caribbean islands, then we can very well use the same energy and the same purpose to propel us to another era that is going to take us light years into the future with our rights, with our freedoms, and of course with our choices.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullah, for being with us here in Barbados today, or speaking to us. You're in Trinidad, but speaking to us here in Barbados. And it is our hope that we will, people will make the right choice tomorrow, guys. They're trying to take your choice from you, but you make the right choice tomorrow. It's a no to Mia Motley, it's a no to safe zones. A no to Mia Motley is a no to mandatory vaccination. Okay, a no to Mia Motley is you having your choice, right? And making sure that your rights are in place. Your rights are in place. So at the moment, I just have the this is what is up. I'm waiting for Alex Mitchell from Bajan Free Party, which I know that they're against mandatory vaccinations. So I'm hoping that they will come on and be able to display their information on exactly where they are. In fact, I think I might have that on my phone. On the screen right now, you're going to see the APP's candidates. They're right there on the screen right now. Yes, so you can take a look. But Mr. Abdullah, let me say thank you for coming on. We really appreciate
Thank you for
it.
having me. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and say a prayer for us tomorrow, please. God bless.
Definitely. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yes, so these are the places where they are, and I'm looking on my phone here, Mr. Alex Mitchell. If you are listening, please, we need you to come on and to let us know where you're at. And I'm trying to find the information here on my phone. Okay, here we go. Alex Mitchell is in St. Michael South, David Roberts in St. Michael West Central, Jeanette Eiffel, Christchurch East Central, Roy Turney, St. Michael Northeast. And I know that knowing them, they are out there on the road trying to bring in the vote and to make sure, you know what, they're protecting us all from safe zones. They're making sure that we are not going to have mandatory vaccinations. They're making sure that people's livelihood will not be taken away from them while they take away your choice. That is a plan, is to take away your livelihood because they want to take away your choice. And that is exactly what is happening. We don't need to figure whether it is going to be so or not. That is what was happening. If it wasn't for the doctors who started to lose money. Anybody remember that? Who remembered when the doctors started to lose money? What happened? That's the only time they stepped up and said, no, you can't implement this, because people what, they couldn't go to the doctor's offices anymore, and so they were calling in to the doctors in Barbados and canceling. And because they were canceling, right? Because they were canceling, they then the doctors then said to the government, absolutely not. There can be no safe zones, and that's the only thing that saved us. That's the only, because we would not be able to go to the hospital. We wouldn't be able to go to the hospital, guys. That's what she was doing before this election. So why would it change? There is nothing in the manifesto, nothing that tells us that it has changed. Nothing that tells us that it has changed. And let me tell you, this is right. Steve Morris saying it's true. There is nothing. Go read the manifesto. Go read it. Even if she had put a fake promise in there, she didn't even put a fake promise in there about mandatory vaccination. It's not in there. It's not in there. We are about choice. You want the vaccine, you take the vaccine. Those who don't want it, then give them alternative treatments. That is what we're saying, and that is what many of the younger parties are saying. Right? Bajan Free Party is saying that. Okay? Barbados Sovereign Party is saying that. APP is saying that. Solutions Barbados is saying that. Choice is what they're saying. Shake off all the chains of oppression that they're trying to put on you. right? That is what the Barbados Labour Party wants to put on you. Chains of oppression. Shake them off. Shake them off, and tomorrow use your freedom. Use your freedom that you have tomorrow to preserve your freedom. To preserve your freedom. Very, very important. Isn't she the one who wants to make this a vaccine capital of the Caribbean? Who remember that? That's what she said, that this will be the vaccine capital of the Caribbean. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Go out tomorrow and make sure it doesn't happen. Make sure that that doesn't happen. Well, we have here, I think this is another infomercial here, and I'm waiting. I'm also waiting on others to come in from Solutions Barbados, because it's not just about apps. Time has come and gone, but I'm still waiting on those from the different parties. Barbados Sovereign Party, I know that they are, Mr. Philip Springer is very, very busy right now. He's down there at the court. I left him there today. I went to support him. Lumumba was there to support him. Emmanuel was there to support him. Solutions Barbados was there to, Grenville Phillips was there to support him. Fallon Best was there to support him. And we went to support him because choice and rights, those things matter. They matter. They matter. They matter to matter. And where Vona Wiggins is saying, true, we have to vote third parties. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them put any wool over your eyes. They're coming to take away your freedoms. They're coming to take a look at the third parties, guys. I'm saying third parties, but I want to say the younger parties, NBKA with Reverend Scantlebury, Apostle Scantlebury, totally against all these mandates. And that's the freshness about these third parties. They are saying to remove the restraints of the people, take off the control of the people, is what they are saying. What they are saying. This is what they are saying, right? Okay, I'm seeing Melissa Tate is trying to get in. I'm gonna ask if we could play okay. Oh, Melissa is here. Melissa is here. We're gonna go straight in it because we've been doing a lot of APP and we still have APP to come later. And this is about all of our parties, and it's just that I'm waiting on them to come in. I'm waiting on them to come in. After Melissa, then we're going to play the video that we have for Barbados Sovereign Party. We're going to play that video. It's going to happen. But let me just welcome Melissa. Let me welcome Melissa Tate. Welcome, Melissa. How are you doing?
Hi, good night. I'm all right. Good night to everyone in Barbados.
Yes, Melissa, welcome. Mr. Hoyt is saying, welcome, Melissa. We're always happy to have you, Melissa. Always happy. And we're talking, Melissa. Yes, we're talking here about these mandates, and losing our choice, and asking Bajans to remember that. Remember about the safe zones. Remember, about these things. Can you state your position on that?
On the safe zones are the mandates that are done on the
both the safe zones and the mandates. Well, you're a candidate for St. George North, right? Let's make sure we get that clear.
Yes, I am a candidate for St. George North. I think that the safe zones are contradictory in the sense that if we follow the science, it has shown that the vaccines that are being offered by these organizations are not able to fulfill their duty. I remember when you get a vaccination against smallpox or chickenpox, you didn't have to worry about being exposed to someone who had chickenpox because you were vaccinated. But it seems that persons who have offered themselves to be vaccinated are now going through a series of vaccinations and boosters. And with that being said, the safe zones necessarily would not work. Now, if you got a safe zone of people who are fully vaccinated and they are proposing that you don't have to test those individuals, knowing very well that the science shows that whether you're vaccinated or not, you could still contract COVID, you could still spread COVID. It means then their business place will be a super spreader because persons are not going to uphold all the protocols. They're going to relax themselves and say, well, I'm in this space with fully vaccinated persons. But we have seen proven over and over again, even with cruise liners, there are persons who are in one space, fully vaccinated, given a position or opportunity above those who are unvaccinated, and yet still there have been COVID outbreaks. So why would you impose such a policy? I feel the safe zones are there working as to form a division between the people of this nation. We are not to allow ourselves to be divided. We came up in Barbados with diverse people, different ethnicities, and various approach to governance, and we always found a way to come together collectively to share our opinions and to govern Barbados in a way that will allow each and everyone to be able to live free and comfortable and live a good quality lifestyle. So why now in 2022, from 2020 to 2022, we are encouraging persons to divide themselves and call it safe zones. When these individuals leave that zone, they still have to go back to their house. They might be sharing their household with someone who is not fully vaccinated, and must be mindful that being not fully vaccinated means that you could have taken one shot and not taken your second dose. Not being fully vaccinated could mean that you have your first and second dose, but you did not take your booster. As long as they keep bringing out and rolling out series to add to this vaccination process, those that were able to take the last couple shots will always be unvaccinated unless they take the most recent shot. And my question is, when would it be finally be properly vaccinated if you have to go through these series of shots? Well, before we knew vaccines to be a one shot, and when you do have it, you could practically walk among persons who are ill with the very same disease because you are given something that gives you proper immunity. I think Barbadians need to get past this barrier and stop it allowing us to separate and divide ourselves and looking on each other with scorn. My question to many people are, if you were dying and someone came to resuscitate or help you and you were fully vaccinated, would you receive that care or help or assistance that could save your life? Would you use your last breath to ask them, I know you're trying to help me, but you're vaccinated? Would you receive care and assistance from someone just because they are not to your standards of being fully vaccinated? So my answer to the people of Barbados is stop allowing persons to divide you. Do not allow that rhetoric to break the barriers of our shores. That is what's going on in other countries, and it doesn't need to be done here. All we need as Barbadians need to do is to look into our own care and ourselves. And when we are not feeling well, be honest with ourselves. Do not go to work. Stay home and seek some form of assistance and go about it that way. But we need not have safe zones because really and truly the name itself is contradicting. It is not safe. There's no safety provided.
Yeah, and even I mean, and then Miss Motley is saying it's safer with her, and is it safer? Do you think it's safer with Mia Motley?
It can't be. Look, listen. Nobody can guarantee you safety besides the Almighty. Safer with her, safer with them. Individuals that drop protocols at the entrance to our airports and our ports of entry to allow persons to traverse our country, implemented protocols that seem to at times to only apply to locals while tourists jump over walls and walk out to hotel rooms and tear off their bands. And we as Barbadians could not hold them back. And only after a public outcry, they decided to finally charge someone. You know how much tourists were able to do as they please. There were persons that went and they left and traveled, Barbadians that left and traveled and came back. And after coming back, they weren't given quarantine because they knew people in certain places or their families were certain people. We need to have a functioning civil service that were willing to follow protocols straight across the board for anyone. All the situations that arise with super spreaders in our island wasn't necessarily the source of a local, because a local COVID did not begin in Barbados, but we had the opportunity to put that front at the ports, the entry, and we were lackadaisical in our approach because tourism is our main product, our main money earner. So we didn't want to offend those that were coming to our shores. But when it all boils down, we still made a list, American list, which stated that Barbados was high risk. So while we dropped our guard to encourage business here and allow them to traverse our shores, when it did turn around that we had our cases spiral out of control, their countries put us on the list and say, "No, we are warning you, don't go to Barbados." We need to understand we are only 300, and I think we're about approximately 300 and somebody thousand people strong. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long for a country that's so small. Some people live in close proximities in places like the Pine and various developments for any kind of disease to spread. So therefore, our first line of defense needs to be a serious line, and it must be is either do that or succumb to the consequences afterwards. So we saw 2020 went by and the flaunting of many protocols. And then we, as the electorate and the local Bajans, were treated as if we were bad behaved school children who needed detention because we weren't following protocols. There were many times decisions were made where people were gathering in long lines outside the supermarkets, and then when they got into supermarkets, things in there was tighter than cheese and macaroni. we need to wake up and recognize. And then when people highlight the fact that we are too Barbados, they say that that's not the case. But I mean, as Barbadians, we are well-educated, intellectual people. Even the ordinary man, I'm sure if I stop and hold a conversation with Ninja Man in Bridgetown, who's considered vagrant, his level of conversation is still higher than most. We know and we could see the difference in treatment. So I need Barbadians to really acknowledge and be true to themselves and honest to themselves within this election atmosphere. Because this atmosphere is one that's causing people to forget. But don't forget. Recall and go into your memory and remember how you felt. How you felt when you feel as if you were being treated as a second-class citizen in your own country. You can't be safer with someone that exposed you to that kind of feeling. Never in the history of Barbados did Bajans feel like second-class citizens in their own country. So how is it safer with that person or group of people? When persons are given free rein to pass laws at 12 o'clock in the night where you are sleeping without any opposition, and could speed many legislations through Parliament, but the real legislation that allows you to have some kind of right as a citizen of your country, which is the intent to know can't pass it. You must understand, Barbadians, we are really crumbling under the pressure of both of these administrations, one after the other. Look at the suicidal rate that has increased among the youth since 2018 until now. We are losing our youth to suicide. When I was young, I never grew up hearing about young people taking their lives. It shows you that our system is failing. They feel they have no way to turn to. If I could have checked into the backgrounds, I would see if they were educated, because there are a lot of educated young people who cannot find our source a job. So I'm trying to say we are seeing evidence of cracks and tears in the fabric of our society. And we as Barbadians are just saying, man, things gonna get better. We can steer the course. But what kind of course? What kind of course? We don't know what the course is. We are hoping for something better, but it's time to start hoping and make that something better a reality by making a choice of trying something new, a new form of governance. So I encourage the people of St. George North. I encourage the people of all of Barbados to pray, go home. When they're home tonight, say a prayer and interact with whoever they just pray to. What they call, some call him Jah, some call him Allah, some call him Elohim, some call him the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. God says his kingdoms, there are many mansions, and there's no speech nor language where his voice is not heard. So even though we might say different things, he knows we are talking to him. You need to consult and pray for a good outcome in this election, one that would allow us as people within this island to exercise our rights as given under the Constitution. Because our democratic rights are under threat, and we need to acknowledge it. We need to look at the signs where people could get on platforms and say nothing can't happen in Barbados unless it come through me. It can't happen in Barbados unless I allow it. I warn you not to vote for this, and I warn you. They encouraging you to vote for me because I am the best choice. They are warning you against using your democratic rights. So if persons could be unapologetic with such presentations on high platforms, their boldness shows it all. There needs to be a change.
Yes.
There needs to be some form of change. So I say that safe zones don't make any sense. They don't make any sense.
They don't. I mean, it doesn't make no logical sense. And you know what? The only people that rescued us from Miss Motley were the doctors. If you remember, it was the doctors, you know, that rescued us. So I don't know why why she's saying it's safer with her. No, we're not safe with you. You know, you're going to take our rights. You know. Now let me ask you, in the few minutes that we have left, I want you to speak now directly to the people of St. George North. I want you to speak directly to the people of St. George North. Tell them why they should vote for you.
Well, to my people of St. George North, peace and prosperity unto you. I know that the people of St. George North wants a representative that they'll be able to see and have access to, and that would be me. Someone who does not have a conflict of interest, where they can't say or do what they should do because they're being muzzled. They're carrying two titles, and both titles are conflicting. To be a representative of a government and still a representative of the people is self-contradictory in itself. I live among the people of St. George North. Nice people, productive people, farming, very innovative people. And those people need irrigation systems, proper roads. The schools in the areas need upgrading. Transport to some parts of the areas need improvement. Development of entrepreneurship and commercial centers in the area is needed. Yes, we give thanks for those that came before and they laid the foundation, but it's time to pass on that baton to a younger generation to carry the mantle, to bring fresher and newer ideas to the people of St. George North. The people in St. George North are a growing, upcoming middle class community, and they're on the threat of being eradicated because they don't have representation for them in Parliament the way that they should. They don't have a voice to be like a pit bull in people's ears to know that we are not going to stand for certain things. They're lacking that voice. And yes, I know people are accustomed to what they're accustomed to because it's hard to diverge from that. But the embrace of something new, know that we turn a new leaf, could be to the benefit of everyone in St. George North. My people of St. George North, I am thankful first to you for embracing me when I first came into your community and showing me what love of community is. That community in St. George North is a loving community, and I want to be able to bring about policies which would allow for us to take care of our children, repair our homes if there's bad weather, people that could establish businesses where we could continue to support each other in St. George North. These things are not possible when you don't have a voice that can actually speak. Well, the voice that you had previously is silent to the plight that you have those in lower estate that are struggling with that constant stench and smell. I know that someone knows what's the source of that stench, but they're not choosing to address it. Well, those people are struggling and their children are suffering, have to buy nebulizers and all these other things to help them. So I'm telling the people of St. George North, I offer my services to you. I'm a young woman. I'm God-fearing woman. I'm a family-oriented woman. And I believe that I can return St. George North and Barbados in its entirety to where it needs to be, which is working collectively and being productive together. So that's my offer to the people of St. George North. I'm offering up myself as an innovative approach to something new.
Wow. Excellent. Listen, excellent, 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 excellent. How did she do, Mr. Hoyt? Mr. Hoyt is Mr. Hoyt is a great cheerleader, I tell you, a great cheerleader. But Melissa, we want to wish you all the very, 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 very best. All you and Solutions Barbados. Mr. Hoyt is saying, thank you, Melissa. Well said. Well said. We want to wish you and Solutions Barbados, another of the younger parties, all the very best. You bring such freshness, to this arena, and we welcome you. And we say, listen, go out there tomorrow, do your best, and you have been doing your best. God bless you, Madam. Love you.
Thank you. Have a blessed good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. That was Melissa Tate. Isn't she a joy? She is the type, this is the type of representation that we need, and just that caring and heart and wanting to see that choice. And we're talking about the choice a lot, because guys, we're not just voting about a road and a light and that they need to fix, and so we're talking about our future. We're talking about the future, and left up to I'm sure Mia Motley, then we would, our future would be one where there is continued segregation, that people, so you're over here, we're over here. And while she's talking about this disunity, a disunity that she is creating, right? This is a disunity that she's creating. And yes, she's a thinker. She's definitely a thinker. Definitely a thinker. Yeah. So right now,